Alright, so this is my yellow metal cooler deck. It's really relatively simple, straightforward. It's pretty basic. Alright, so you got the leader, metal cooler, and his awakened form, nucleus of the evil metal cooler core. When you start the game off and you play your metal cooler into your leader zone, his auto effect triggers and you can play your big Getty star straight from your deck onto the field. So you don't really need more than one copy in your deck, since you will start the game off automatically with one. But since there was space for two, I put two in the deck. So I really didn't need more than one, but you never know, in case somehow the card gets removed from the field, you have an extra copy in the deck, right? So there's two big Getty stars. Big Getty stars ability stays in your battle area, and then you have the active main ability. Pay any energy, switch this card to rest mode, and then place one card from the top of your deck into your drop zone. And then you can choose up to one meta cooler card with an energy cost of 2 or less from your drops area and put it into play. The typical target, of course, will be infinite multiplication meta cooler. As you can see, it's 2 costs. It's a meta cooler card in its character. You check the character area of the card and it will say meta cooler. So he's a meta cooler, and he has the effect where I can have as many copies of him in my deck as I want, so he goes beyond the maximum of 4 copies per deck, and I currently have 20 copies of him in the deck. So I can guarantee the effect of Big Getty Star. Plus it's a nice cheap little 15k 2-drop, as well as, you know, it's a 0 cost 5k booster, and it just looks cool, right? So essentially that's what the deck is about. It's about infinite resurrection of these nice little 15ks. Alright, moving on to my tech cards. Just some little added power into the deck. I got Cooler's armed squadron leader Salza. He has double strike. He has auto main. Remove this card from the game. Choose one Cooler's armored squadron other than Salza from your drop area and put it into play. It gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So the main target for this Salza will be Dore, Cooler's Armed Squadron Dore. His ability is blocker and auto. When this card is KO'd, remove this card from the game. Choose up to one Cooler's Armed Squadron card other than Dore from your drop area and play it. So as you can see, you know, some graveyard recurring abilities, and the fact that it's a blocker, obviously that's pretty decent, and it's a blocker that can recur Salza. Then Salza of course can recur Dore. So that's the idea, is that there's a little synergy right there. So I could have a blocker, but I could also have a double striker, which is good to deal damage. Then we go to the Awakened Core Meta Cooler. He's one of your heavy hitters. He's a 5-drop. You can evolve by paying 2 yellow energies and 2 of any, and place this on top of a meta cooler card. has the permanent effect of your opponent life is 4 or less. Your meta cooler leader card can activate its awaken form, so you can awaken without even having 4 or less of your own life, which is really good. So that way you just attack your opponent, you hit your opponent until he's 4 or less, which will allow him to awaken, but now you can awaken and you'll still have more life points than your opponent. And of course, in awakened form, cooler, metal cooler is a lot power, because for example, he has the ability that when he attacks, well, his first effect is once per turn, active main. If you have 3 or more of your metal coolers in play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and put them into rest mode, which is very useful to put something like a blocker in rest mode, so that way your opponent can't use that blocker to block, right? Also prevent your opponent from using any battle cards in their battle area to boost. If you rest it, of course. You rest it, now they won't be able to boost with that card. Auto, when this card attacks, you can send up to 3 cards on the top of your deck to the graveyard, then choose up to 1 metal cooler or metal cooler core card from your drop area and add it to your hand. And obviously there's a lot of metal cooler cards in this deck. There's 20 of them. As well as this in the character slot says metal cooler, so obviously you can add this awakening core metal cooler, or you can add the infinite multiplication metal cooler, either one from the grave, from your drop area to your hand. And of course you want to have the awakening core metal cooler in your hand, so if you just so happen to mill it by the deck's ability, you can just, or you send it to the graveyard. Like you see, it's a 10k booster, so let's say you use it as a 10k boost to boost one of your battle cards, then you attack your leader when he's awakened. That effect will trigger milling 3 cards, then you can add the awakened core metal cooler from the graveyard back to your hand. Plus that will of course allow you to be able to use it to boost. You pay 1, then you get a 10k boost, because activated auto abilities activate and resolve before you do combo phase, your attack combo phase, so that you can use what you add back to your hand to combo. And then next turn, do it again, mill, add to the hand, and keep going, as you can see. So you can just keep getting that nice little 10k boost every single turn, turning your leader into a 25k attacker, putting pressure on your opponent, which is always good. Alright, and then a permanent effect, well, the second permanent effect of awakening core metal cooler is all metal coolers in your battle area gain double strike, which means they'll deal 2 damage instead of 1. So that's all the awesomeness, because of course he's a metal cooler, so he'll double strike. All your infinite multiplication metal coolers are metal coolers, so they'll get double strike, so they'll deal 2 damage. So, and your leader is also metal cooler, so it'll deal 2 damage. And let's see. Alright, and of course the metal coolers, infinites, I already mentioned those. Alright, now moving on to the extra cards. Gotta have some extra cards, some little battle tricks, right? So we got battering laser. It's nice little cheap card to use. Bloodlust something, I forget what it's called at the moment, but would have been nice to be able to use in the deck, but it doesn't work in the deck because the leader is a Frieza clan, not a Frieza army, so I can't use it. So this is one good substitute for countering in the deck, because the counters. It doesn't counter everything, but the counters counter, so it's good enough. Want to have some control elements into this deck. So Bad Ring Laser lets you counter a counter. Place one yellow card from your hand into your drop area, which you don't mind dropping any of your cooler cards, because you can always add them back to your hand, or you can always bring them back from the graveyard onto the field, so you have no problem paying that cost in order to counter a counter. So there's a negate right there for you. There's a non-negate. Crusher Ball. Counter play. The battle card played is played in rest mode, so this will be very useful, especially since you don't have the other card, like I said, the Bloodlust card. This is a very good substitute because it's almost similar in the way you play it, because you play it to rest your opponent's creature. Let's say your opponent has a dual attack or a triple attack or a double attacking creature. You don't want him to be able to attack with it, so because that's his effect, it'll do you 2 damage, or it can attack twice, and you want to make sure that creature can't use that ability, right? So Crusher Ball will tap, bring that creature into play tapped, that battle card into play tapped. It's almost as if you negated its ability, right? So as long as you have the end result is roughly the same, where you make a battle card relatively useless for the turn, is essentially a negate, right? And it's a cheap card, so that's always good. Death Razor. Active main, choose one of your opponent's battle cards that's rested and then KO it, which is really good, especially if you use Crusher Ball in order to put that, one of your opponent's creatures onto the field rested, one of your opponent's battle cards rested, and then on your turn you play this Death Razor to get rid of that card. So there's a combo right there. As well, in general, if your opponent attacks you at any given time, you have this obviously as an option. If your opponent blocks with a blocker and the blocker survives, since it'll be rested, you can use this to get rid of it. So obviously it's relatively good, and it's a cheap cost. Then we have Raccoon's Eraser Gun. Counter attack. So this is from when your opponent attacks. If your leader card is yellow, which your leader is, negate the attack. Afterwards, the opponent's battle cards are unable to attack for the duration of his turn. So there's your. It's a 4-cost card, so it's a pretty hefty cost for a negate, an attack-based negate, but it's a good card, and currently it's the only battle-based negate we have. Attack-based negate. Once they come out with some more cheaper ones, then obviously we'll play those. But for now, Raccoon's Eraser Gun will do its job. In this deck, what you want to do, like in the beginning, when you draw your hand, and you know how you can put some cards in your hands back in your deck, shuffle, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards you put back in your deck. What you obviously want to put back into your deck is your metal cards. Obviously, all your infinite multiplication metal coolers, throw them right back into the deck. All your awakening core metal coolers, also want to throw them back into your deck. because you want to send them to the grave through the mill effect. So you want to throw them back into the deck. And then on average, you don't necessarily need to play more than 2 energy to play this deck, basically. But if you ever feel you need to, take the game higher when it comes to playing energy, obviously you have so many infinite multiplication metal coolers. Obviously you'll want to use them as your energy. Put them in your energy zone area and use them. If you draw an extra the extra copy of the big Getty Storm, throw that into your energy. Obviously you get the idea. You definitely want to try to keep as many of these, your extra cards, of course. And you want to be able to play your armored squadron leader cards, because they're nice little tech cards. But 2 energy is mainly what you'll need, since you see most of your extra cards only cost 2 or lower. The main bulk of the deck's battle cards are 2 or lower, but of course there's a couple, they're a little bit pricier. The highest cost we have in the deck is 4, which is Salza and Raccoon's eraser gun, which is the highest cost, which are 4. Nope, actually there's something higher, I forgot. Because I expect to summon this cheaply, obviously. But as you can see, this is actually the highest cost, which is 5. But you can play it for 4, so especially in this deck, it'll be easy to play for 4. So essentially, I consider 4 costs, along with Salza and Raccoon. So you don't have to do much. Like, you don't have to put too much mana, too much energy, into playing this deck. You're more likely just gonna play 2 energy at a time, and more likely it's just gonna be 2 infinite multiplication metal coolers in your energy area, and that's what you're gonna mainly be playing with. And that's the end of the video.